Representative Johnson. Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing, and good to see you, Secretary Buttigieg. Thank you for your time and your testimony. For decades, communities of color and low-income communities have been ill-served by our transportation system. Our communities face a higher burden of pollution and fewer affordable, safe transportation options. One means to address this is to build more high-quality transit lines, such as the Atlanta Area Transit Agency, MARTA's proposal for the South Lake Bus Rapid Transit Project, which will serve an area made up of 93% minority individuals. The South Lake BRT project is in the pipeline for the Federal Capital Investment Grants Program. The Federal Transit Administration is currently developing new guidance for the SIG program, which will significantly influence which projects qualify and receive funding in the future. Mr. Secretary, how will your department ensure this new guidance and the SIG program generally will support equity and deliver real results for underserved communities?
We're certainly committed to considering equity and other important criteria that belong within the framework of our transit policy. And when it comes to CIG, which is among the largest competitive federal grant programs, we recognize there's a lot at stake. The President's budget requests $2.9 billion in general funds for CIG, and additional funds in the amount of $1.6 billion are provided through the advance appropriations that came in the IIJA. So that's a total of $4.5 billion to work with. This is also a program that requires projects to go through an extensive process to ensure that they are going to effectively use those taxpayer dollars. And the evaluation criteria include things like consideration of affordable housing in the transit corridor, credit for projects that serve transit-dependent populations, and incentives to use alternative fuel vehicles and build environmentally friendly facilities. So you have my commitment that as we continue with the process of updating the CIG program regulation to make sure that the guidance reflects the changes that came by way of the infrastructure law, and the initial changes are out for notice and comment. We'll continue to consider these and other important values and criteria to the extent that the law provides for us to do so.
Thank you. And Mr. Secretary, the House recently passed an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act that I authored, which relates to the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program applicable to highway, transit, and safety programs. The amendment eliminates the gross receipts cap in effect for DBEs working on surface transportation projects. This amendment ensures that the definition of a DBE is consistent across DOT programs as it brings surface transportation online, in line with how the FAA defines a DBE, and ensures that DOT follows SBA definitions for a small business. Do you support the elimination of the gross receipts cap for surface transportation programs? And also, what additional steps in your department is your department taking to promote maximum participation by DBEs in DOT programs?
Well, first of all, yes, we support that step. We recognize that the SBA's government-wide small business size standards are more accurate and consistent in terms of measuring a small business. And so we think this can address something that we hear very often as a concern from DBE owners who, as one business leader put it to me, feel that they are sometimes viewed in such a way that they become too small to be big and too big to be small. And we are within days of publishing our own notice of proposed rulemaking with a number of updates and amendments to our program rules to modernize and improve the DBE program. We want it to be more user-friendly while maintaining the highest standards of program integrity, and look forward to getting public comment on that proposed rule as soon as it's out. I'll also say, in addition to the formal requirements and rules pursuant to the program, we're also just doing a lot of engagement and communication, making sure the DBE community knows about the opportunities that are coming and understands where to go in order to become more involved. And we'll be engaging the incumbent and larger firms as well about what we consider to be the importance of them being good partners with these smaller and disadvantaged companies too.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, gentlemen. Representative Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.